The forest near the human colony was always quiet, too quiet. Birds didn't sing there. Wind didn't whistle. Even insects avoided the deep green shadows between the trees. The grown-ups called it the wild side. Children were warned never to go near it. But Ilia was not like other children. She was small, only 8 years old. Soft brown hair, tiny hands, curious eyes. And when others said, "Don't go there," she always asked why. That day she was picking berries near the fence when she heard it. A sound, not loud, not sharp, but deep and strange. A growl. It came from the forest's edge, low and rough, like someone breathing through pain. Ilia froze. Then, she listened harder. It came again. Not angry, not wild, just hurt. She looked around. No guards, no grown-ups nearby. She gripped her berry basket tightly and stepped toward the trees. Inside the forest, everything felt cooler. The ground was soft with moss. The air smelled like wet leaves and old bark. The mean growl came again. Closer now. Ilia followed it, slowly, carefully. Each step felt like a whisper. Then she saw it. Under a huge, twisted tree, a large shape was curled between the roots. Massive, dark, gray fur. Long claws, huge paws, a thick tail like a whip, and a face that looked like a wolf, but bigger, wilder, more alien. Its golden eyes were open, glowing faintly, and they were watching her. Ilia gasped, but didn't run. The creature growled again. Didn't stand. It didn't move, but its eyes didn't blink. She saw blood on its nose, dark red drops soaking the earth. Something was stuck in its nostril, a long black thorn, thick and cruel. The creature lifted its head slightly and snorted in pain. Ilia stepped forward. The alien wolf growled louder. Its lips pulled back. Sharp, white teeth showed, but it didn't bite. It didn't pounce. It just lay there, tired, hurt, and breathing heavy. Ilia's heart beat fast. She should have run. She knew that. But something in her chest whispered, "It's hurt. Not evil." She crouched slowly, basket still in her hand. "Are you stuck?" she asked softly. The creature blinked. Its tail moved once, then stopped. "I won't hurt you," she said. Her voice shook, but she meant it. She set her basket down and crawled closer inch by inch. The creature didn't growl now, just watched. Its chest rose and fell. Its eyes stayed on her tiny hands. Ilia reached out slowly. Her fingers brushed the thorn. The creature's body tensed. Ilia whispered, "Shh." Then gently she pulled. The thorn didn't move. She tried again, this time harder. Pop. The thorn came free. The creature let out a sound, not a growl, but a long, deep breath, like relief. It didn't move. It didn't run. It just lay there, quiet. Now. The blood stopped. Ilia held the thorn in her hand. It was longer than her finger. She dropped it beside the roots and looked at the beast. "Better?" she asked. The alien wolf blinked. Then slowly it laid its head down. Its breathing slowed. The golden eyes closed. Ilia stood up. She didn't know what she had just done, but she knew one thing. It had let her. She picked up her basket and walked back toward the colony. Behind her, the forest stayed silent, but the silence wasn't scary now. It felt calm. At the fence, she stopped and turned. The trees were still dark, still thick, but she felt them watching. Or maybe just him. The beast. The one with the thorn. She whispered, "I hope you feel better," and walked home. She didn't see the shadow that followed her from the woods, didn't hear the soft paws on dirt, didn't feel the eyes that watched her all night from the edge of the trees. But the beast remembered her, the little human, the one who touched it, and didn't run, the one who helped. And the forest would never forget that day because something old and wild had met something small and kind, and something deep inside had changed. The next morning, the forest still looked the same. Tall trees, thick shadows, no sound. But Alia felt different. She had not told anyone what happened the day before. Not about the thorn, not about the huge alien wolf, and not about how it looked at her like she mattered. She had dreamed about it all night. Those glowing gold eyes, that deep growl, the way it just let her touch it. Now she was standing near the same fence again, her berry basket in hand. She knew she shouldn't go back. But something, inside her, something warm and brave, said she had to. Not for danger, not for curiosity, but for him. She stepped into the trees again. Same path, same roots, same quiet. The forest seemed to recognize her, this time. Like it remembered her footsteps. As she reached the big tree, her heart beat faster. Would he still be there? Was he even real? Had she imagined the whole thing? Then she saw it. A pair of golden eyes. Watching her from the shadows, he was standing this time. Massive. Proud. Fur like stone and smoke. His body filled the space between the trees like a moving mountain. But his eyes, they weren't angry. They were waiting. Alia froze. The basket slipped a little in her hand. He stepped forward. One paw. Then another, slow, controlled. Each step, silent. When the sunlight touched his face, she saw him clearly. Long, sharp ears, thick neck, shoulders like armor, claws that could slice a tree in half. His breath came slow and hot, steam rising in the cool morning air. He was the scariest thing Alia had ever seen, and yet, she didn't feel fear. "Hi," she said quietly. The beast stopped. He tilted his head just a little. She took a deep breath and lifted her hand. "I brought something." She reached into the basket and pulled out a piece of dried meat. Her father packed it in case she got hungry. Now she held it out, to him. The beast didn't move, but the steam from his nose came closer. He sniffed the air, then slowly, very slowly, he stepped closer. Alia didn't back away, even when he was close enough to touch, even when his nose was bigger than her whole hand. He sniffed the meat once, twice, then gently took it between his teeth, chewed once, swallowed. Then he sat right in front of her, like a dog waiting for more. Alia smiled. "You're not so scary," she whispered. The beast's ears twitched. She sat too, cross-legged, right in the dirt. She set the basket down and pulled out another piece of food. "I don't know your name," she said. He blinked slowly. "So I'm going to call you." She thought for a moment. Smoke. The way he moved. The way he breathed. The way he appeared and disappeared in the shadows. "Yes. Smoke." The wolf didn't growl, didn't react. But he didn't leave either. He just watched her, listened, stayed. Alia talked for a while. About her family. About the colony. About how she hated school sometimes and how the other kids never listened to her ideas. She talked like she had known him forever. And Smoke? He never looked away. Not once. After a while, Alia stood. "I should go," she said. Smoke stood too. But he didn't follow. Not yet. He just looked at her, eyes steady, like he was saying, "You may go. I'll still be here." She nodded and walked back, through the trees. That night, she left a piece of meat near the fence. In the morning, it was gone. No footprints, no sound, just missing. Like it had been carried away by wind or by smoke. And deep in the forest, something wild and ancient had begun to change, not with force, not with fear, but with something simple, something rare. Trust. The third day, Alia came without her basket. She didn't bring food, she didn't bring water, she just brought herself, and Smoke was already waiting. He stood near the crooked tree, quiet as stone. As soon as Elia stepped into the clearing, he raised his head. Not in threat, in recognition. He remembered her, and this time, he walked toward her first. Elia stopped. Not because she was scared, but because the moment felt big, like a secret only the two of them understood. She whispered, "Hi again." Smoke's ears flicked. She reached out slowly. He didn't flinch. Her fingers brushed his thick fur, warm, rough, still marked by small patches of dried blood. Then she touched the spot where the thorn had been. It had healed. The skin beneath was no longer red. He lowered his head, pressing into her palm gently. Her tiny hand rested between his eyes, and the beast who could tear tanks apart just stood still. Elia smiled. "See? I told you it would feel better." Then something snapped behind the trees, a sharp crack like a stick broken in two. Smoke's body changed instantly. His head jerked up, ears sharp. Back arched, he shoved Elia behind him with one fast movement of his leg. Elia fell on the ground with a soft gasp. Smoke growled. Not like before. This growl was deep, loud, dangerous. Elia peeked from behind his tail. At the edge of the clearing stood a man, a hunter. Not from the colony, wearing dark gray armor, goggles, and a strange gun in his hands. The man froze when he saw the beast. His gun dropped a little, then rose again, aiming straight at Smoke's chest. "No!" Elia screamed, jumping to her feet. The hunter blinked in confusion. "What the? Is that a child?" Smoke didn't attack, but he didn't move either. His muscles were tense, eyes locked on the weapon. Elia ran between them, arms spread wide. "Don't shoot him!" The hunter frowned. "Move aside, girl, that thing is dangerous." "No, he's not," she cried. "He saved me." "He's a predator," the man said. "It's illegal to protect one." "He's not attacking you, is he?" she shouted. The man hesitated, but the gun stayed up. Smoke took a step forward. Elia grabbed his fur. "No, Smoke, stay." He froze. His breath came slow and hot, like smoke from fire. Elia turned back to the hunter. "Please, he's not a threat." The man looked again. This time, not at Smoke, but at her. The way she stood in front of the monster, the way she touched it without fear. He lowered the weapon. "Just a little." "You're not lying, are you?" he asked. "No," Elia whispered. "I'll report this," he said. "Okay," she replied. "But don't hurt him." The hunter nodded once, then slowly backed away. He disappeared into the trees. Gone. Smoke let out a long, deep breath, a sound so heavy it made the leaves shake. Elia looked up at him, his eyes met hers. She placed her hand on his chest. "You didn't attack him." Smoke blinked. "You protected me again." He sat down in the grass, huge, silent, and calm once more. Elia sat too, resting against his side. She didn't speak. She didn't move. She just listened to the sound of his breathing. One big breath after another, warm, steady, safe. For the first time, she closed her eyes beside him, and he stayed awake, watching, protecting, breathing slow and loyal. The sun had barely risen. Morning fog hung over the colony like a blanket, soft and quiet. Doors creaked open. Farmers stepped outside. Workers stretched, yawned, and began another normal day, until the screams began. "Something's at the gate. It's huge. Call security." People ran toward the east entrance, some with tools, others with rifles. Mothers pulled children back. Lights flashed. The guards rushed forward, and then they saw it. Sitting calmly in front of the colony's metal fence was the beast. He didn't growl, he didn't move, he simply sat, tall, still, and quiet. Eyes open, watching. His fur looked darker in the early light. His chest rose and fell like slow thunder. And just behind the wall of guards stood a little, Girl barefoot, hair messy, still holding sleep in her eyes. Elia. She stepped through the crowd, small hands raised. That's him, she said softly. One of the guards turned. You know this creature? She nodded. I helped him. He's not here to hurt anyone, the crowd murmured. The guard lowered his gun. You brought him here? No, she said. He came on his own. Smoke didn't move, didn't growl, but when Elia stepped closer, he wagged his tail just once. The guards tensed. Step back, Elia, one man warned. It's dangerous. No, it's not, she said calmly. She pushed open the fence, walked out barefoot, and stood beside the giant alien predator. The colony fell silent. Not even the birds dared to sing. Smoke looked down at her, then laid down, slowly beside her feet, his huge body flat to the ground as if saying, This is where I belong now. A woman in a clean uniform stepped forward. Officer Tren, head of colony security. She stared at the beast, then at the girl. Why is it here? She asked. Elia looked up. I think he wants to protect me. Tren frowned. Protect you from what? Elia didn't answer. She just knelt beside Smoke and placed a hand on his neck. The beast closed his eyes, soft breath warming the cold morning air. He followed me, Elia whispered. I didn't ask him to. Tren looked at the crowd, then back at the girl. Does it obey you? Elia shook her head. No, he listens. There's a difference, she nodded. A big one. One of the guards raised his rifle again. Tren held up her hand. No, let it be. But ma'am, I said let it be. People slowly backed away, but no one took their eyes off the creature, and Smoke never looked away from Ilia's front door. That night he was still there, sitting outside her small house. Silent. Still. Neighbors whispered in fear. What if it turns violent? It could break the wall in one leap. Why is it just sitting there? Elia's mother peeked out the window. Her voice was nervous. Why is it watching our home? Elia looked up from her chair. Because he remembers who helped him. Her mother placed a hand on her shoulder. And what do you think he wants? Now, Elia answered without blinking. To help me back. That night she left the door open just a little. Smoke didn't come in. He didn't move. But she saw his golden eyes glowing in the dark. And for the first time since she came to the colony, she felt safe. By the second day, no one walked near Elia's house. Not neighbors, not friends, not even patrol officers, because the beast still sat by the door, watching, waiting, breathing like a slow drum in the dust. Smoke didn't leave. He didn't sleep. He didn't eat. But the moment someone came too close, he growled, low and deep, a sound that froze blood, a sound that made grown men step back, but not Elia. When she opened the door in the morning, barefoot as always, he wagged his tail once and lowered his head. She scratched behind his ear and the growl vanished. He's protective, Elia told her mother. Not angry. Her mother bit her lip. The other children aren't coming anymore. Elia nodded. I know. Her voice was quiet, but not sad, because Smoke was her friend. And maybe her only one now. That afternoon, the colony's leader arrived. Mayor Wren. Gray hair, sharp eyes, voice like stone. He stood 10 feet away from Smoke and crossed his arms. This can't go on. Elia looked up at him. He hasn't hurt anyone. Yet. He saved me. He frightens everyone else. Elia walked to the beast and sat beside him. Smoke didn't move, didn't growl, just watched. Wren sighed. We can't live in fear, child. Elia said nothing, just rested her hand on Smoke's paw, twice the size of her head. The mayor looked around. People watched from windows, whispered in corners. Parents held their children close. Fear was growing, and fear had a voice. That night, someone threw a stone. It hit Smoke's shoulder. He didn't move. He just turned and stared into the darkness. A second stone hit the ground near his paw. Smoke growled. Louder than before, a warning, and the shadows scattered. Elia rushed outside. Smoke, he stopped growling the moment she called his name. His body relaxed, his eyes softened. She sat beside him again, laid her head against his fur, and whispered, "You don't have to scare them." But Smoke understood something Elia didn't. Some people need to be afraid before they understand who keeps them safe. The next morning, a small boy wandered too close. Lost his ball. It rolled near Smoke's tail. The boy reached for it. Smoke stood suddenly. The boy fell back in shock. He didn't cry, but his eyes filled with tears. Elia stepped between them fast. She knelt, placed her hand on Smoke's chest. "It's okay," she said softly. "He's just a kid." Smoke looked at the boy, then lowered his head and slowly backed away. The boy grabbed the ball, ran off without a word. Elia sat down again. "You're trying," she whispered. "I see that." That evening, Officer Tren came alone. No guards, no guns, just a question. "Elia," she said, "what will he do if we force him to leave?" Elia looked up at her from the porch. "He'll fight. And if we try to kill him?" Elia didn't blink. "He'll die protecting me." Tren stared into the eyes of the beast, the eyes of a monster who had done nothing wrong, except protect a child. Then she turned and walked away. Smoke remained, still, patient. But every day he growled at everyone but her, and every day Elia stayed beside him, because even a beast needs someone to believe in him, even if the world never would. The sun was red when the trouble came. A strange silence fell across the colony, too quiet, too heavy. The guards stood tense. The wind carried no bird calls. Even Smoke had stopped growling. He stood suddenly, ears forward, body stiff. Elia stepped outside. "What is it?" Smoke didn't look at her. He was already moving. The first explosion hit. The outer fence, booming, flashing. The shock rattled every window. People screamed. Children ran for shelter. Alarms wailed through the air, and over the smoke figures appeared. Bandits. They wore black armor. Their ships hovered low. Dust kicked up behind speeding bikes. Dozens of them, armed with plasma rifles, stormed the colony from 3 sides. It was not a raid. It was a slaughter. Guards fired back, but the defense line crumbled in minutes. Families locked themselves in homes. The mayor called for backup, but the radio was already jammed. No help was coming, and then came the deep sound, a roar that shook the dirt. Smoke charged. The alien wolf leapt over the wall like it was paper. He landed in the middle of the attack, eyes glowing, teeth bared, breath smoking. He hit the first bandit like a hammer, armor cracked. The second didn't even get to scream. Elia watched from behind a wall. "No," she whispered. "Smoke." But he was already lost in the fight. The bandits tried to shoot him. He moved too fast. One jumped onto a rooftop. Smoke followed in a single bound and sent the man flying. One threw a flash grenade. It exploded. Bright. White. Smoke stumbled, just for a second, then roared louder. The villagers couldn't believe it. The monster they feared was protecting them. Officer Tren stood with a rifle, firing from cover. She watched as smoke tore through the raiders like a storm. "Get me every medic ready," she shouted. "And no one shoots the beast. He's with us." Elia ran through the chaos, dodging fallen wood and smoke. She found Smoke near the east watchtower, his side bleeding, one leg limping but still standing, still fighting. A bandit aimed at him from behind. "Smoke!" Elia screamed. The beast turned just in time, slamming his paw down on the attacker's chest. But it was clear. Smoke was getting tired. His movements slowed. His roars grew shorter. He was bleeding too much. Elia ran to him, threw her arms around his thick neck. "You can stop," she cried. "They're running now." Smoke collapsed beside her, his body finally giving in. His chest rose and fell like thunder. Slow, rough, alive, but barely. Guards approached, Guns lowered, villagers peeked. From their doors, even the mayor stepped into the dust, mouth open in shock. One child whispered, "He saved us." Another said, "He's not a monster." And then quietly, the people started coming out. They brought cloth for his wounds, water, food, bandages. And Elia sat beside him, never letting go. When the last of the bandits flew off into the clouds, Smoke lay in the middle of the street covered in blood and ash, but his eyes were still open, still watching her, only her, and for the first time since he left the forest, the people bowed their heads in thanks, not to the mayor, not to the guards, but to the beast who protected their children. Smoke didn't move. The great alien wolf lay still in the middle of the road covered in blood and dust. His chest rose and fell, slower now. One of his eyes was swollen shut. His leg, badly burned. But he was alive. And Elia never left his side. She sat with both hands pressed into his thick, bloody fur, one hand shaking, one still. Tears ran down her cheeks, but she didn't cry loudly. She whispered to him, "You did it. You saved them all." The villagers stood nearby, some silent, some crying. Even the mayor had no words. The beast they feared had protected them with everything he had. Officer Tren finally stepped forward, her voice quiet. "We have medics, but he's not like us. We don't know how to help him." Elia turned, her voice was small but strong. "Then let me stay with him." Smoke let out a soft breath, warm and weak. His golden eye met hers. He didn't growl. He didn't move. But that single glance said everything. He was tired, but he was home. The crowd backed away, one by one. No one dared to pull Elia away. No one dared to raise a weapon. That night the stars came out slowly. The air was quiet. Peace had returned. But Elia stayed by Smoke's side. She brought a blanket. She placed her jacket under his head. She hummed to him, soft and low, the same way she did when she first pulled that thorn from his nose. And in the soft light, his tail moved. Just once. A slow wag. In the morning, something changed. When the villagers woke, they saw something no one expected. The beast was gone. The street was empty. No paw prints, no blood trail, only a pile of bones left near Slaya's door, the armor of the last bandit. A gift, a warning, a goodbye. Elia sat on her porch, calm, quiet, and smiling. Days passed, then weeks. People started asking, will he come back? Is he watching from the trees? Is the girl still speaking to the forest? Elia never answered. She just smiled softly and went about her day. She helped rebuild the wall. She planted new trees by the gate. She sat alone by the forest's edge at sunset. Sometimes she left meat by the fence. Sometimes it was gone the next morning. Then one day a new group arrived. Scientists, soldiers, and visitors from other colonies. One of them saw Elia and said, "Is it true that a wild predator protected this place?" The mayor nodded. "Because of her." They looked at Elia. "Why did it protect you?" Elia looked into the trees. Her voice was clear. "Because I removed a thorn." The visitor laughed. "That's all?" She smiled gently. "That's everything." And in the deep woods, where sunlight barely reached, golden eyes watched her still. He didn't come close anymore. He didn't need to, because he had already found what he was looking for. A reason, a friend, a place where monsters became protectors, and little girls changed everything.